You're listening to episode 297 of the Master Your Mind, Business, and Life podcast. We're back for week 2 of the Energy Forecast series. And if you're new to this podcast, or maybe this is the first time you're tuning in for the Energy Forecast series, this is an annual 3-part series with spiritual experts who give us a breakdown for what's to come in the year ahead energetically. Last week, we got a dose of what's to come astrologically in 2022 with an update from Natha Campanella. And next week, we've got numerology on deck with my fave, Felicia Bender. But this week, we're moving into a topic that is actually an audience favorite, twin flames. The topic of twin flames is growing rapidly, I would say, online. Maybe it's because more twins are awakening to their connection, or maybe we're all evolving and our consciousness is broadening so that we're able to tackle, understand, and absorb, or even challenge a conversation such as this. Today's guest joined us for the 2021 Mid-Year Twin Flame Energy Forecast update when we checked in, I guess it was in June of this past year, and she's back again. Jessica Horn is a mother, teacher, healer, business owner, and divine feminine in a twin flame connection. She specializes as a twin flame reader and guide. Jessica also has her bachelor's and master's in psychology, as well as certifications in Reiki and energy medicine. Within this conversation, we're recapping what happened in the 2021 mid-year update. We're talking about what has already come to fruition from that update. We're discussing the separation and union window, breaking down the 2022 unity energy. And Jessica also shares a card reading and a channeled message from some well-known spiritual figures that were a little shocking to me, but still super awesome. I'd like to preface this conversation to say that the messages relayed through these readings are deep and maybe even controversial. But I say, listen with openness. And as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. Speaking of, be sure to reach out and let me know what resonates most with you after you've listened. I love when you engage with me on social media through Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, all at MindBizLife. Okay, are you ready to learn what's ahead for Twin Flames in 2022? You know what to do. Tune in, turn it up, let's go.
You're listening to Master Your Mind, Business and Life. Conversations with everyday world shifters, truth seekers, and rule breakers. Here's your host, Lauren Smith.
Hey, Jessica, welcome back to the show. I was so happy when you agreed to come back for a second round of Energy Forecasts.
I was so happy that you invited me back.
Well, before we dive in, will you tell our listeners just a little bit more about you and what it is that you do?
I am primarily a twin flame reader and coach. I just, because of my own twin flame journey and my own spiritual gifts, ended up kind of accidentally falling into this world. Now I even though I do offer a variety of readings and coaching for people and healing as well, I still find that the majority, probably like 90% of my clients, are all twin flame focused. And let's face it, like the world is becoming very twin flame focused in the spiritual community. So yeah, I get a lot of people who are wanting twin flame readings or twin flame guidance to figure out how the heck to get through this crazy journey.
Yeah.
That I do.
I love that. And you do so much great work, and it's all over the place. I feel like from Instagram, and you have a great Etsy store as well. So people can really just get a variety. But I really want to recap our last conversation for maybe those who missed it or kind of forgot about it. It's been a while. I think we recorded that episode on the 5/5 portal, and it launched that June. So, it's been a few months. But within that, you did a card reading for the Twin Flame Collective, and the card showed that there was a strong emphasis on union energy. There were 5 Twin Flame union cards that you drew, new beginnings, achieving your goals, powerful changes, and that spirit also discussed karmic cycles ending. So how are you seeing this play out currently with your clients or within the Twin Flame Collective so far that really supports that reading?
Okay, so let me add real quick how I was just saying how twin flames are like becoming a bigger and bigger topic in the community. Well, that's because we're in the time of ascension, and twin flames are meant to assist humanity with ascension. So more and more and more twin flames are discovering that they even are twin flames and that they're on this twin flame journey. So the lead up to all of that, like, you know, we've had the increased numbers of twin flames, and the lead up to all of that has been gradually getting to union. And I believe, I don't think it's 100%, but I believe that a good portion of twin flames started to come into union this year. And I'm seeing those results. Like, I'm seeing that with clients, I'm seeing that with friends, and just observing in the community anyway. So that is why we definitely had so many union cards, because 2021 was like the first year where it really starts happening more and more and more. That's not to say that there weren't unions before that. There just wasn't as strong in numbers for unions.
So
and that
it sounds like it's really starting to pick up now.
Yeah, and that's just going to keep going now, because it's like a snowball effect. Like, it's going to keep growing and growing until, you know, more and more are in union. Now, it's not going to be everybody all at once. So, you know, those readings, any readings from anyone, not just mine, like, they're not going to apply to every single twin flame, but that's what's going on. And it's the same with the karmic cycles closing out. Like, it's a continual process. And, you know, if you try and look at individual twins, it might not be at this exact moment, but it's continuing to evolve down that journey that it's meant to, integrating the soul lessons and closing out those karmic cycles. And everybody will get to that point when they're meant to do that.
Let's expand a little bit on karmic cycles. What are they?
Karmic cycles, I mean, I'm going to look at the broader sense first, that they are lessons that we are meant to learn in this crazy journey of life. And honestly, everybody has karmic lessons, not just twin flames. Twin flames, I feel like they have the harder ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
But everybody has karmic lessons, because souls come to earth in order to learn significant soul lessons and soul growth. And, you know, we've discovered the last few months from Anna that souls are lined up to get here in order to do that.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's what the process is. It's the process of learning these lessons. Some of these lessons are just coming about in our current lifetime. Some of these lessons are also going back to past lives and generational stuff also. So the karmic cycles are all like bringing those lessons to climax, you could say. So that the lessons are integrated into our 3D, into our human, is what I say. And then we can leave that in the past and move forward. Now, of course, sometimes those specific lessons are more, a lot of people will think of karmic as karmic partners. A lot of times those lessons come down to specific people and situations and relationships. And that can be a little bit more difficult. And those relationships won't come to an end until the lessons are fully learned. So that's why it can feel like they drag out sometimes.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like how you break that down, because I think when we take the step back out, and karmic sometimes feels very harsh, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at it as like, this is a lesson, it's almost like you can allow yourself more grace as you move through these cycles.
Yes. Yes. And it's also important to understand that our souls chose this path and chose these lessons for us. So even though it feels like, when you're going through the trenches, it feels like, why is this happening to me? But the reality is that it's happening because your own soul chose this path. And once we can let go and accept the lessons and integrate them and move forward, then it won't be such a struggle anymore.
Yeah. Well, before we start talking, you said you had lots of goodies prepared for us today. And one that really sparked my interest was you channeled a message from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So share why you tapped into them, and then share this message with us.
So a lot of people don't realize this, but Jesus and Mary Magdalene are the first twin flames to incarnate on Earth since the time of Atlantis, which I won't get into that, but Atlantis was real. And many flames were together in Atlantis as well. So Jesus and Mary Magdalene were the first twin flames to incarnate again. in order to start, showing humanity what unconditional love really looks like. And obviously we know from Jesus' story that that's what he did, but many people don't realize that Mary Magdalene was an important part of that in his life as well. And of course, many more twin flames have come since then. And this is all information that I have channeled from him. I mean, I have a specific way for myself that I connect, and I do confirm that it is them.
This is awesome. This is awesome. So now that we know that they were the original twin flames, what is the message that they have to share with us as we head into 2022?
Okay, so this is literally quoted, like I asked what they wanted to tell us, and I wrote it down word for word.
Perfect.
There's a couple things here. So first, for 2022, they said, union doesn't have to be all bliss. It keeps growing and healing as you go. Surrender to joy and love. All life's worries disappear when love abounds.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. That's a great reminder, I think, for anyone, no matter if you feel that you're a part of the twin flame collective or not. That's a powerful message.
Mm-hmm. And can I add to that a bit?
Yeah.
Because I kind of expounded on it. So it does come, or it makes me think of, I should say, a message that I do tell people all the time. Like, yes, once you're in union, you should be happy and blissful, but it's still a normal relationship. There's ups and downs, those types of things. But I actually asked them, so how healed do you have to be to come into union?
Yeah.
And they said that you do not have to be 100% healed. So I asked, what's the threshold? How healed do twins need to be in order to come into union and start like the happier side of the journey?
Right.
And they said 80%.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So how do you think, did they say how you can gauge that 80%? Like, is there an internal knowing or you know what I mean? Like
that I did not even think to ask, to be honest.
No worries. It just sparked in my mind. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check into that one. I don't even know that there is a way to gauge that, but I do feel like we will be naturally guided when we are at that point.
Yeah. And I think if you are the type of person who is doing the inner work and maybe you're gauging it, maybe it's a gauge that you give yourself, maybe you can look back at the past 5 years, 10 years and say like, whoa, I've come a long way. Or maybe you look back and you're like, I'm not that far. Maybe that's our gauge, maybe it's an internal gauge.
Exactly.
Did they have anything else to share for us or?
We do. So I asked for advice from them for the twins who are waiting to come into union. And they said, I personally think it's kind of funny how they worded it. They said, wait just long enough for you both to be reborn. Trust your higher selves.
Whoa, reborn. So what is your take when you hear that?
Well, two things. I think it's funny they say, wait just long enough, because to me, once you get to that stage, then you're already there anyway. So, but to me, the rebirth that they're referring to is when we're rebirthing our soul selves. So when we're really entrenched in the 3D mindset and ego mindset, we're functioning based on so much society conditioning and cultural conditioning and religious conditioning too. We're not really being who we are truly meant to be at a soul level. And the most significant part of the twin flame journey before union is the soul integration of rediscovering who we truly are deep down inside and the lives we are meant to live. And that's what this is referring to. It's that rebirth of waking up to who we really are and integrating our soul selves, integrating our higher selves into our human bodies and minds. And the trust your higher selves. I mean, like I said, our souls chose this path. Our souls are guiding us down this path along with our spirit team. And I constantly, every time I ask for advice myself, I'm told trust my twin and trust my spirit team. So trust. Trust
can be hard, but that's part of leaning into surrender as well, and just really having the faith.
100%. I did ask a few more questions of them that didn't have those word specific answers, although I did get a final thought from them. And I asked, okay, so is divine union with your twin guaranteed? And they said yes. And that's where I said, do you have a word of advice there for that? For those people who are like, really, are we going to get there? And they said, with faith, all things are possible.
Ooh.
Which is totally surrender statement.
Right. And so biblical. Like, right? Like, yeah. And I think that's so interesting too, because sometimes I think that we hear these different messages like, oh, they're not all going to come into union. Do you think when Jesus and Mary Magdalene are talking of union, they are speaking of physical union? Because we are, and this is my understanding, always in union within like the 5D, right?
Yes. And I actually clarified that with them. And I said, do you mean like 5D or inner union, or do you mean physical union? And they did say physical union. Yes, because this is something that so many people struggle with. And they don't believe it, that everybody will get to union because they haven't achieved it yet. And they're going through the hardest part of the journey. But like I said in the beginning, twin flames are meant to assist humanity with ascension. That's why they exist. That's why they're even here as twin flames. Our souls chose that. So what would be the purpose of being here if we don't come into union? Then you're not achieving what our souls came here to do. Yeah. So divine physical union is meant to happen and is, like they said, guaranteed.
Yeah. And that doesn't have a timeline. Doesn't mean it's going to be tomorrow or next year. It does 5 years.
That being said, I did ask a little bit about timeframes. That's not really worded the right way, but you'll understand once I explain it.
Yeah.
So I asked specifically about 2022, if it's a year of unions, and they said yes. I ended up getting a breakdown. So I asked what percentage of twin flames are in union now? And actually, let me go back one. First, I asked how many twin flames there are. And they said 144,000. And that's interesting to me because it's something that's theorized that I don't know that anybody has gotten confirmation on. So I was excited that they gave me that.
Yeah.
And like I told you, they're here to assist ascension, and our souls chose to allow soul will to override free will because of that. So then I asked, what of the 144,000, what percentage are currently in union? And they said 10%. That's why so many people feel like you're not going to achieve union because only 10% are in union right now.
Right. It's not modeled to the rest of the twin flame collective almost.
Exactly. So I said, what about by the end of 2021? Since we were already told it's a year of unions, they said 15% will be. I said, okay, well, how many are going to be in union by the end of 2022? 45%. So there's there's a big jump for 2022, 30% coming into union in 2022.
That's massive. What do you think that's going to do for the vibration of the earth?
Oh my gosh. So the vibration of earth is just going to really jump a lot, like really increase. We should really start seeing a lot more compassion and understanding and lighter energy, helping each other, helping humanity more. Like there should be a lot less fear-based energy in the world with such a big jump like that.
Yeah. And that sounds very aligned as we all hear, we're walking into the age of Aquarius, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
This feels very aligned, and that timing now feels a little divine.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to break down the rest of the years, but they did say that all twins will be in union by 2028, by the end of 2028.
Wow. And are those the twins that is that to say that more will not be incarnated, or are those the ones who are, like years into their journeys?
So what I tried to figure that out a little bit here with them. The 144,000 that they're talking about here are twin flames who are alive, who know that they are twin flames, or they might out that they're twin flames, but in this lifetime, they will know that they are twin flames and realize that they're on a twin flame journey, and nothing will happen such as death, basically. It is possible that there are twin flames alive who are not going to come into union, but they don't know that. They don't even know that they're twin flames.
Yeah.
They are preparing for the next ascension cycle, basically. So they exist. They might even meet their twin, but they will not learn anything about twin flames. They won't know that they're twin flames or on a twin flame journey. They won't even be activated for that healing process. So you don't really have to worry about it. If you know about twin flames, you don't have to worry about that. That's a completely different group. It is also 144,000, but it's a completely different group.
Yeah. And then the timeline shifts a little bit. It's almost like you have to have waves of things.
Exactly. So
Wow.
I think the only difference is with any who experience death. Unfortunately, there may be some who their twin dies, and unfortunately, they're obviously not guaranteed union, and they would be in the second group.
Right. Maybe, different lifetime too. That's
Exactly.
happening. Is there anything else that Jesus and Mary Magdalene had to share within this?
I'm checking. I think that's everything. I got through everything.
All right. Well, I know you also had pulled some cards for us
Yeah.
too. Is that a good place to flow into next, do you think?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So what last year we did this, or I mean, not even last year, it feels like it. This time, my gosh. At the last update, we did the same thing that we recapped the beginning of the episode. So I'm interested to see how the cards maybe are similar or differ. So share this with us.
So the messages from the cards for 2022 are: don't give up, keep pushing through. Your hard work will be rewarded. The scales will be balanced, and so much joy and happiness is coming to you. Divine feminines are discovering who they really are deep down, and a world of opportunities are opening up for them, as well as the twins as a whole. Your soul tribe is coming together. Travel opportunities are going to be popping up. There's going to be so much to be grateful for. Just surrender to trust and faith in the journey. You know that you have a whole legion of archangels assisting you, and with every little thing, every little lesson, basically. And the divine masculines are in the process of realizing their self-worth and taking the necessary steps for themselves to bring about on all four cards: union, commitment, family, and peace.
Wow. And I feel like they're aligned, but it's definitely a different message. It's almost a message of like hope, like keep going. And I think that resonates with and follows up with the message from Jesus and Mary Magdalene of you got to have faith.
Yes. Yeah, every time I'm struggling, that's what I'm told: trust and faith. And, I tell all of my clients that too, but, we all go through those moments.
Yeah.
So the more we can have trust and faith, the more it's easier to get through the day to day.
In your opinion, what spiritual preparations can a twin do to really ensure that they're ready for union? If we're talking about that 80% healed, what do you think are some action steps that someone can take to maybe they're already on their healing journey, or maybe they're just starting it?
So I know it's extremely hard, but we have to try to focus on ourselves and not on our twin. Like, you can't help thinking about your twin and focusing on them a lot of the time, but the purpose is our healing path. So we need to focus on our own shadow work, to be honest. Everybody has it. You might not think that you do, but you do.
Yeah.
So we have to focus on what is it deep inside of me that is a buried wound that needs to come out, negative emotions that have been bottled up that need to come out, and focus on how to heal those different things. Do shadow work, there's so many different healing modalities now that can help us grow spiritually. Like, even though I have psychology degrees, I actually think that spiritual healing work is stronger and more effective in a faster time frame than therapy.
Yeah.
Not to say that therapy is bad. Therapy is still good.
Right. And I think that's also a good time to remind people that if you don't feel maybe empowered to dive into these modalities alone, this is why you have people like Jessica who can offer healing sessions and really guide you through this work, because at no point are you truly alone.
No.
That's more of a choice if you want it to be, but there's so much guidance, and Jessica has so many great resources practices that you can really tap into those. So I encourage everyone to go look into that. But I think those are really good tips to remember that this is about self, and we can always look outwards, but if we're not looking inwards, then, like, how are we going to achieve our goal?
Yeah. And another motivating factor is that when we're working on our own healing, it naturally helps our twin heal as well, because the connection being that we're originally from one soul, the healing automatically goes back and forth in between. Like, we don't even have to try, although you can also consciously do healing work for your twin as well. But that I find to be a big motivator for a lot of people is that the healing work they're doing is helping their twin also. And then it just helps the process move along.
By the time that this episode launches, we'll be just a few days away from the 12/12 portal. And while our Fuel Your Life Friday episode right before that portal will be dedicated to the 12/12 portal and breaking down what it means, Jessica was awesome enough to pull some cards and get a message for us about what the energetic theme is for this portal. So, Jessica, would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah. Yes. And I love these cards. They're really focused on the chakras and internal work that's going on with people. So the themes that we have for the 12/12 portal, starting off talking about healing, shame and guilt, and having more compassion. Also, there's a side note with this one. If there are any karmic secrets that need to be exposed, they're also in that process of happening too. Yeah. Mysterious.
Yes, very ominous.
Okay, so then we have finding the motivating inner drive and direction while also surrendering to the process. Healing past pain, like that inner child type of pain, and going through renewal and rebirth. Releasing the ego and really listening to each other and having that emotional intimacy. Getting out of your own way and seeing the bigger picture. Understanding that spirit has everything under control, even if we don't understand why yet, or why things are happening how they are yet. Learning how to manifest with spirit's help to create our new reality. And then I love this because it's literally the only action card in this deck, because it's all about energy. Making powerful action moves towards union and birthing the results of all our hard work.
Wow. Powerful action moves towards union. What do you think that means? Like, how can we lean into that more?
For me, okay, so on the divine masculine side, that's the divine masculines taking the necessary action steps that they have needed to take in their lives to move past the karmic cycles and reconnect with their divine feminines and move forward. For divine feminines, that is about them taking charge of their lives in powerful ways. Now, what that means for each individual may be different, but it's primarily going to be about life purpose and what makes them happy, what fulfills their souls and their passions and brings joy into their lives. Because for the feminines, I constantly get the message about making their lives more joyful and more happy. And that's how you can surrender and get through the process easier. So the divine feminines are focused on their life purpose and path and happiness, knowing that they can still have that even while they're in separation. And the divine masculines are focused on the necessary steps to shift their lives in positive ways to reconnect with their feminines.
Woo. This is some really good stuff. I think that when the energies right now, I mean, on the day that we're speaking is the day before the 11/11 portal.
Yeah.
And astrological, the energies are harsh this week. And I think it is a little probably relieving for anyone who is a twin flame to kind of hear these messages, because I think it reaffirms the hope, the faith.
Yeah, completely.
And that can be hard, especially to hear by the end of the year of 2022, 45%. That's a massive jump. That's a really big jump. And then, that gives someone that hope to just keep going, keep doing your work.
Yes, exactly. Because even though, 2021 won't have as many in union yet, you're still on the path. You're still getting there. You're still making progress, and you're still going to see progress, even if you're not 100% in union. So it's not about giving up. And in fact, when people get so many angel numbers and feathers and all of these signs and messages, and honestly, also the positive messages that come through with my readings, that is spirit. Like, imagine that you're on a marathon and there's all the bystanders standing at the side of the road, holding up their signs. Like, that's what it is. Spirit is giving you that positive reassurance that you're on the right path. Keep persevering, keep pushing through. Yes, it's a marathon, but you're going to get there to the end. Like, it's guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Jessica, is there anything else that you would like to share to the Twin Flame Collectives when we're looking ahead to 2022?
Honestly, what I tend to go back to the most with many people, especially when they're struggling, is like that message that for twin flames, soul will overrides free will. That's why every twin that I know would have given up if they could at some point. Couldn't. But understand the bigger picture to that our souls chose this path, that our souls are coordinating this path, that literally both divine masculine and divine feminine higher selves know the journey and are guiding us both back to it. And even when we're going through these rough periods that we're struggling through, and honestly, that's hard during the holidays as well, know that, everything is serving a purpose. Everything has a reason, both the good and the bad. It's bringing about the soul lessons and growth. Focus on learning them and moving forward how you are meant to. Focus on, what do I need to do for myself? And that's going to keep getting you that one step closer to union.
Oh, such great wisdom. And Jessica, you pump out so much great content that I know our followers will gain a lot by connecting with you further. Will you tell them where they can go to do so?
Okay, so yeah, like you mentioned earlier, I do have a lot, and probably the easiest way to find all of it is going to my Instagram. My link in my bio on my Instagram is a link tree that has everything there. My Instagram is @Divine Intuitive Healing. So I have my Etsy shop for readings. I have a Patreon set up for my own like VIP collective that I read for and do different activities for. Plus, I have one-on-one mentorship set up there. I have links to our podcast, of course, and my YouTube channel for my collective readings. My blog is linked there as well, which is fearlesslyinspiredawakenings.net. Fearlessly Inspired is basically my business name that you can find anywhere.
Gotcha.
Etsy, YouTube, Patreon, everything. It's on my Instagram as well.
Perfect. I'll link that too.
Great. And then I also have been doing workshops with collaborations with other healers. And I have recordings of those workshops set up in my Etsy shop to download. And there's links to that in my bio link tree on Instagram as well.
Oh, that's so perfect. I told you guys, she has so much stuff. Like you're never going to be prevented from going down the rabbit hole with Jessica. So Jessica, I just love the space that you're holding and how you're guiding others on this journey. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing this message.
Thank you as well.
I told y'all, the messages that Jessica channeled and shares are so incredibly impactful. And if it works out the way she says, then 2022 is a year of reunions for many twins, and hopefully this helps shift the world into a higher vibration of love and all that love encompasses. I've linked Jessica's website and social channels on this week's episode notes found on mindbizlife.com. There are also direct links to her most recent workshops and live trainings, including her upcoming one on December 21st, 2021, so be sure to check that out. If you've enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend, and be sure to leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you tune in and turn it up. I'm back on Friday for another episode of Fuel Your Life Friday, but until then, remember, every level of life is an opportunity to grow. Be well, my friend.